Hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm Zoe, and as usual, I'm here with Lizzy.
Hello.
And we are going to be talking about Skeleton Crew Episode 4.
Yippee!
I'm supposed to click the button there.
Star Wars Geek Girl. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.
Alright, hopefully we'll edit out me not pressing the button successfully. Maybe we won't.
I was like so ready to
who's to
just
say?
be like talking or button. Was thinking.
Yeah, well, I pushed it, and it was like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
And then I pushed it again, and it was fine.
Gotcha.
Yes, we're talking about Skeleton Crew Episode 4. I'm very excited. I love this episode. So we'll do spoiler-free thoughts first. So what are your spoiler-free opinions on this episode?
Spoiler free. It was definitely like I was scared. I was very scared and I was very not angry, but kind of angry. Like I was ready to fight someone. Like there was a lot of mixed emotions. There was like ha 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 ha, and then it was like, man, I hate this guy. And then it was like, oh, everything's cool. And then it was like, what is happening? You know?
Yeah, that's a pretty good summary. Although I feel like most things that come out, you hate someone. So.
Well, up until this episode, I didn't really hate anyone. I feel like this is a fair hate, you know?
No, this was a fair hate. I'm just saying, and it's not uncommon.
No, yeah.
For you to be like, oh, I hate that guy.
Definitely not. If someone were to like go back to every like, what's your spoiler-free thought? So each one is gonna be like, I hate this guy. So
yeah. But I agree. I do agree with you on this one. I don't always agree. I do agree with you on this one. Yeah, I think spoiler free. I enjoyed this one a lot. And I just think a lot of it was like very resonant of some of those core themes of Star Wars that we've had since the original trilogy, and not in a like repetitive way, like a new kind of way of looking at it. And you know, it was just like it was a proper amount of like tension, and you like do fear for the characters, but it's also still like there's still elements of it where it's like they're on a fun adventure, you know.
Yeah.
Still, and I loved Jod in this episode.
Yeah.
He was so good at this episode. But also the kids, specifically Brian Kara Armstrong, who plays Fern. And I'm blanking on his name right now. I'm gonna look it up real quick. But the boy who plays Wim, and the boy who plays Neil, they all really shone as actors in this episode. Especially the girl who plays Fern.
Mm-hmm.
But all of them. I mean, KB too. She's always a good actress. She just didn't do as much this episode.
Yeah, KB's time to shine is a little later, maybe.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like this episode was. I mean, you know, obviously all the kids are there and they're all doing stuff, but this was definitely a Neil-centric episode, which I appreciated a lot. And I hope to see like a more Fern-centric episode, more Wim-centric episode as we go along, which I'm sure we will. But I just adore this cast and these characters and the relationships with each other. There's some very, very cute moments amongst the tension in this episode that I enjoyed a lot.
Yes. Spoilers.
Okay, spoilers. Go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, I will not, deny that Neil has Riz, right? Okay? He's got immense Riz.
Neil Riz does go crazy.
But what about his crush back at Atten?
Hey, she's not a cool like fighter girl with a stick.
You're right, but
You know, forget her.
but like his crush. I'm not that
What
deep about
has
it.
she
I was just
done?
like,
What has she
man,
done
what
but be
happened?
green?
Hey, I don't know what their history. Okay, I don't know. We don't know their history.
Neil said he's working up to talking to her, so we can assume not
very
much.
little, but it's okay. Anyway, the Neil Riz goes crazy.
Love
I
Neil
love.
Riz. I hope Neil gets
Smee-
a girlfriend on every planet.
Oh yeah.
Go to
What's it called, Mr. Worldwide?
Mr. Worldwide.
I also love Smee in this episode. Smee was making me so nervous.
Smee
all the time, though.
Smee was really good. This is not. We're not gonna do a play-by-play. We're just gonna jump all over the place. I will say, I don't think the babysitting protocol. I don't think that was real. I don't think he has a real babysitting protocol. He was just saying that. He was just saying it.
I do love him. I love the babysitting protocol because it's just, him and Jod. He's like, come on, baby. Baby, get over here. Come on. That was amazing.
That's exactly what I say when I babysit.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah. I only babysat Axel. Like, I don't think I ever babysat another kid. I don't know. But yeah.
I don't know how much it counts when it's a sibling. But I do say that only 2 years apart from my siblings, so maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I was 4 years. I don't know. It's like,
That's
You know what's cute?
If you're like if you're 10 and he's 6, that's like I feel like that's a fair enough babysitting.
Yeah. I do remember, and I will always remember this, and it makes me like cry every time, is when Axel, like, I guess for a school, like, not like homework assignment, they put, it was like, what do you love your family? Like, why do you love your mom? Why do you love your dad? Why do you love your sibling? And for me, Axel put, I love when Lizzy babysits me while mom and dad are gone, because we get to eat snacks all day. Or we get to eat junk food all day, because we didn't call it snacks, we call it junk food. And my parents saw it, and they just like, my dad just handed it to me and was like, well, your brother really cares about you. So, yeah, anyway, babysitting moments. But yeah, Smee was really scaring me.
Yeah, at the end. And that was interesting too, because we know Fern would mess with her nanny George. We saw her doing that in the first episode. And so we know she does that, but it was so cool to be like her to realize that. But then yeah, he whoever his captain was beforehand programmed him to kill anybody who
rip them limb from limb.
Limb from limb.
Him getting ginormous, and the camera movement of him just shaking was
this whole time when he like gets big, you're like, oh yeah, this is awesome, because he's always like protecting the kids, until now he's not protecting the kids, and you're like, no, wait, this is not awesome.
Like, hold on.
This is actually very much not awesome at all. Please stop.
Yeah. But yeah, they end up on this like planet that's exactly like theirs, but it's all messed up, and like everything's burnt. There's like a war going.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, for real. It's like there's a war going on between two different like parties. And there's that cool fighting girl. Yeah. She captures them kinda and like takes them back to her clan, and like I hate her dad. I hate her dad.
Her dad sucks.
Her dad is the US government, and I hate him.
Put him with Perrin from Andor.
Yes. hate that guy.
He's in that same camp. They suck.
Yeah. Awful. Horrible. But their whole thing is literally like, well, you guys, we don't treat you guys like kids. You guys are like, we treat you guys like grown-ups. So go die in a war, please. Thank you. So I hate him. Dislike him. And they choose they show them how to shoot guns. And KB's a great shot, of course.
And Wim and Fern are competing. Of course.
Yeah, that's also of course. And then that's where Neil starts his riz.
Yeah, well, because Neil, they're like, okay, Neil, your turn. And he picks up the gun. And he's like, no, I don't want to. And just sits it down. Which is, that's fair. It was a big gun, too. It was like, start these kids off on like a pistol or something. Like, the gun is like longer than they are tall.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the better answer is don't give the kids guns. But, if you're going to.
Give them a safer one.
Just not even say we're just smaller. Anyway,
safer looking one.
Yeah, but then they go on a walk, and I'm not kidding. It's gonna be probably by the time anyone's listening to this, it's already gonna be posted. Probably, hopefully. But I literally read a whole thing today. About Neil, because he goes on a walk with Hannah. And they're like, get your daily ration. He gets his daily ration because he sees two younger kids who are hungry. And he's like, oh, here you go. Here's some food. And it's like that kind of thing. Like he's just talking about his life and his beliefs and like everything. And that's like, he's just being himself. But that's very inspirational for Hannah to be like, oh, maybe like we don't have to have this endless war. Because we never like, you get this sense that this conflict has been going on for a really long time, but unless I forgot, we never learn why.
No, not
like
at all,
why
no.
It started at all. But it's. I mean, this is not the only war like that that we had. I think for High Republic fans, we all know Irem and Arano had like this endless war that was like for 100 years, and it got to the point where it's like no one even remembered why it started. But they were all just like fighting because it's like, well, it's like, well, you attacked us. And it's like, well, we're attacking you back because you attacked us. And it's like, well, now you attacked us. We're going to attack you. And it's just like, keeps going and no one even knows like why. And everyone's just mad. And so I got a sense of similar to that. And so Hannah being like, maybe we can just stop and be nice was, I think, really powerful for her. And I loved that it was like, Neil didn't like stand up and give a big speech about peace or anything. It was just himself, and that was enough. And I really liked that.
He even talked about his own siblings.
Yeah, they find his siblings. It was just it was very cute, and I think Neil is the perfect character to deliver that.
Yeah, I mean,
and he got Riz.
Yeah, he did got Riz. Yeah, and then she gives him a little kiss.
Yeah.
Again, I'm
in
not
front of all the
against
other
this.
kids. In front of
yeah.
So now he gets to brag forever.
Yeah, but he's not. He don't do that. He
doesn't. He doesn't.
He got Riz.
But then, like, even though Neil is like petrified, and like doesn't want to do any of the violent stuff, which like yes, don't do it. He also he still gets his big moments of bravery, right, when he throws the rock to protect the other kids from Smee, giving Jod the chance to turn Smee off. We'll see what happens next week with that, but like he got his big moment of bravery
I felt
there.
so bad for him because he's like the Smee like falls on him and he's like, I'm fine. I'm gonna like
honestly the most real Star Wars character is Neil. Neil Nation. TheNeilNation.com, guys. Go to TheNeilNation.com.
Neil Nation.
Also, I have a Neil edit on TikTok that's popping off right now.
I think I saw it. I may have.
Just saying.
Oh yes.
But yeah, so I love Neil's like little arc that he has in this episode. It was just great. It was perfect. And I like Hannah. She's a really interesting character. I don't know if we'll get to see her again. I'd love to see her because she's going to be the next clan leader after her meanie dad dies. Hopefully sooner rather than later. And so I'd be interested to see her being really inspired by Neil and helping to broker peace. And this is what I wrote about for the thing that's going to be on StarWarsGeek.com tomorrow. But it reminded me a lot of in the High Republic book Tales of Light and Life. There's a story where basically 2 Jedi, they go to this planet to do a mission. I don't remember what the mission was. But do the mission, and then the mission's over, and the Padawan is like, okay, time to go. And the Jedi Master is like, no, we're not done yet. And he destroys the comm link that they have to call a ride.
Oh.
And so they stay on this planet, and the Padawan's like, what's going on? Because this planet they're on has these 2 different factions that have been at war for a really, really long time. And the Republic and the Jedi have tried to broker peace a bunch of times, and it's never worked. And they don't want anyone to help them negotiate or interfere or anything. They just want to keep fighting each other. And so the Padawan's like, well, what are we going to do? If everyone else couldn't negotiate peace, we can't. And the Jedi Master's like, we're not going to negotiate peace. And so they go to town and they just do chores around town. They fix fences and clean stables and do all these random little chores for people, and all they ask for in return is food. They don't want money or anything else. And they're just doing this for a while, and the Padawan's like, I don't know what's going on. Why are we living on this random planet now? I want to go home. But one day, a couple of the villagers, they come to the Jedi, and they're like, you've helped fix up our town after all the violence, and you're strangers, but you were so kind, and you didn't want anything in return. So we're really inspired by you, and we're going to go over to the other faction, and we're going to make peace because we're going to protect this life that you've showed us how to live. They said it way better in the book, but that's basically it. And then the Jedi Master's like, okay, cool, our mission's done, and he pulls out another comm link, and he's like, let's go home.
Oh.
But it was it reminded, this is what this episode reminded me a lot of with Neil. It was Neil wasn't, proselytizing. He wasn't being you should make peace because it's good. He was just saying what he thought, and he was talking about his life and doing what he knows is right, which is kindness and stuff. And then, and that kind of inspired Hannah to maybe be better herself and give her a new outlook and a different perspective that maybe we don't have to live like this. And I really like that. It's just very similar to me of when Luke throws down the lightsaber in Return of the Jedi, and he's like, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to fight. And that inspires Vader to do the right thing, and it's all full circle. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
I did.
Neil just being Neil.
Mm-hmm. But also, I think the hardest I've laughed at Star Wars in a really long time was when John goes, when he walks out of the ship with Smee, and there's all people there, and he's like, oh, shoot me.
Yeah.
That was funny. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I do like that he goes and he buys the EOP?
EOPs, yeah.
EOP. And then he gives them to the other clan or whatever, and he's like, but that stupid jerk leader is like, you just want the kids for all this hide? And John's like, well, how many hide? How much hide? And they're like, no. He's like, I'm just kidding. It was so cute.
Yeah, that I will say, I was straight up crying when they were all hugging and John got the kids, and they were so cute. Yeah. And that too is we didn't really see outright all the stuff with Jod. He just told us about it. But yeah, he used Wim's credits to just buy the EOP and take them back to the other village. And that too, I don't know, between Neil and Jod, they stopped a whole battle and maybe a whole other battle, right? Because the guys that Jod was with stole the Eope from Haina's clan. And so Haina's clan, they said they're going to go back and get the Eope back. That was their mission to start this battle. But also, they mentioned they were going to burn the granaries of the other tribe too. And then it's like, so when does it end, right? Because now they're going to get revenge on you for burning the granaries, and then you're going to get revenge on them for whatever they do to get revenge. And it's like, so by just like stopping that from happening, like between Jod stopping that whole thing and like preventing a battle, and then Neil showing Haina another way of life, in a sense, it's like these people might have just like, I don't want to say solved a conflict, but like, you know, like made a change for the better for these people.
Yeah. There's something. There was always something else. The coordinates.
Oh yeah, they get up to the they called was it the Forgotten Sanctum, or the something sanctum is what they called it, but it was the supervisor's tower, which is what they call the governor person. Essentially, that's what they call that. It's a supervisor, which is also a really weird name, I think, for that kind of role, but I don't know. And so they get up there, and there's like these columns that each like says one of these like planets that were created to be hidden from the galaxy, like we learned from Kim. But the Aten coordinates are scratched out. And that's when Fern figures out the whole droid thing.
Smee.
But then Smee goes cray cray.
It really does. I'm a little worried for him. I think he's going to be fine, and I think that they'll figure out a way to keep him intact.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like
but
I wonder if the next episode will be more KB centric, and she does a lot of that kind of stuff.
That would be cool.
Because when they were still trying to figure out like what to do, she was the one that was like, "It's just circuits." Or she's like, "It's just like 1,000 circuits. I can fix it." Or something. But yeah, it'll be interesting, especially because like this whole time, Smee has very much been listening to Fern, right? Because she's Captain Fern. As far as he's concerned, she killed the old captain, so she's a new captain. But then, like with this order, like totally overrode that. And he's just like, nope, limb from limb, limb from limb, limb from limb. It's very scary.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. Neil, this was Neil's time to shine.
Except the scene with Fern and Wim.
Yes.
That was amazing. And like I said, Ryan Keir Armstrong's performance was so good. For not only just for a child actor, just for an actor in general. That's really great work. And it was like, because, you know, she's this whole time been putting on this like tough girl, like very headstrong, doesn't care what people think kind of persona. And I don't think that's like all a facade. Like she is strong and she is confident, but we're also seeing like she's a kid and she you know, there's a lot to handle. And she kind of assumed this leadership role, but she's like now feeling the pressure of it, and she's worried she's made everything worse for everybody. But then Wim also, because like this whole time Wim's been very competitive with her, right? Even in this episode, they're competing about the blasters and the targets, and like he was vying for captain when she took it, but he's still been sure enough, which is very remarkable for his age, to be like, well, you're doing a good job. Like, none of us could do a better job. Like, I couldn't do a better job. But that was very sweet for him also, and for their relationship. like him just comforting her. It was
Yeah.
I love these kids so much.
They are. They're the cutest. Still don't hate any of them. I still don't hate Wim either. I just I don't know. I like all of them. Even Fern. At first, I was like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be a tough girl." Blah 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 blah. But like, she's a kid, and she, like you said, she's like now the leader, and she just they all just want to go home except Wim.
Mhm.
So,
And even Wim, I think, like, I don't know. I think he's enjoying the adventure, but I also think we're not far off from him, because he was so like when the mean dad like forces them out to scout ahead of the battle. Even Wim was like really scared. Like Wim, who this whole time has been like a bit reckless and been like, "This is so much fun, you guys." I think he was still petrified.
yeah.
Not as much as Neil, but still. And you know, I don't think we're too far off from Wim having that moment, sort of like Fern did this time, of being like, I just want to go home. Like, this is too much, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. All right. You got anything else to say? I don't know.
That's about it. Make sure you go to StarWarsGeekGirl.com and and subscribe to the blog so you can get an email about when the article I wrote about this episode comes out. I wrote it today. But yeah, it was so good. I love these kids. I love this show. And I'm so glad it exists. Really.
For real, on God.
Yeah.
It's just
we have this intriguing mystery, all these really, really fun and endearing characters. Like even Jod, who's like the token adult man compared to these kids and a robot. Like even he is just very endearing. And he's just like very exasperated in such a funny way. And this was a really good episode.
Have you watched
kind of pushing this through. The Holiday?
Yeah.
Is that No, I haven't seen a lot of Jude Law movies because I know I need to watch AI too.
That's okay. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, I'm enjoying his performance in this though. He's a big meanie in Captain Marvel, which is probably one of the few Jude Law movies I've seen. I'll watch more Jude Law movies just for you, Jude.
He's nice in the holidays.
I believe it. He's very good at being this nice, funny, exasperated guy.
It's even
he's already
better.
dadding out. He's already dadding it out.
Well, that's the thing is he's a girl dad in the holidays, like a single girl dad, and it's like the cutest thing ever.
I see.
And him interacting with these kids reminds me of how he interacts with the kids there. It's cute. And then there's a kid in AI that he hangs out with. A lot of kids. At least the ones that I've watched with him. A lot of kids he hangs out with and interacts really well with. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good episode. I'm excited to see, because it's pushed things along quite a bit with that ad, and like we knew from Kim that the other planets had been like destroyed or something, and so we kind of got to see what that means, at least on this one. So I wonder if we're gonna visit any of these other planets, because like this one was just at Axon. Is this one? I'm real creative with these names. The Republic was.
Yeah.
But at Axon, had the thing scratched out by Smee and his captain, but like all the other planet coordinates were still there. So like, are they going to go to another planet to see if there's one that isn't scratched out for Atten? You know?
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. Like,
So like,
it's
I
like
mean, I don't know if we're gonna get to every single one because there's like a lot of columns and there's only 4 episodes left, but like
yeah.
at least maybe 1 or 2 more. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how this moves forward. We also didn't get any more of the parents this time around, so I wonder if we're going to see more of the parents next episode. I'm very excited to see how this show continues, but also I don't want it to end.
Yeah. Man. I think it'll be good. And then I think it'll have the most perfect and best ending ever.
Yes.
On God.
For real.
Okay. So
I think that was a
everything?
podcast. Because I don't know if I have much more to say.
I do not.
Okay. So, like I mentioned, go to StarWarsGeekGirl.com. Make sure you check out all the writing. Also, we have a poll to vote for your favorite Star Wars of 2024. So you can vote in that. Skeleton Crew is on there. So if you want to vote for Skeleton Crew, it's on there. And you can subscribe to the blog if you want to get a little notification when my article about Neil comes out tomorrow. You can also, or probably will have already come out when you're listening to this, in which case you can get notifications for the next ones that come out. Or if you don't want to get ones for every episode, you can just sign up for the newsletter. That's only once a month. You can also go to theneilnation.com for a really great Neil fan page. And you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky at SW Geek Girl. And the Facebook page is Star Wars Geek Girl. Me personally, I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Spectre_5. You gotta check out my really cool Neil edit that I did.
Yippee!
Or me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Zoeka.
We the Rogue Rebels, you got the roguerebels.com, Instagram and TikTok at the Rogue Rebels, Twitch at Rogue Rebels Podcast, wherever you're listening to the Star Wars of Geek Girls, Facebook page, the Rogue Rebels, Twitter and Blue Sky at Rogue Rebels Fam. I stream sometimes, which I was gonna play what's it called? Hunters, because it came out on Steam, but not really. It's like you could play test
it's in like beta or something.
Yeah. And I requested it and they gave me access, and then a bunch of stuff happened with work to the point where like I would come home and I was like, I need to sleep. So then the play test ended. So now I have to wait for the next one in January. But maybe I do that. And it's literally just at Rogue Rebel Sabine, Bean with a BAN. BEAN? Yeah.
BEAN. Not
Bean.
That would be Saban.
Saban. Which is what you will be if you're a bot in my chat. Saban. Boom. Also, I've been jobbed with you know how my dad creates like those little like the TikToks right after we podcast or he podcasts about something. He has now asked me to do them. So if you see that they are very different, that's why.
Okay.
It gives me something to do. I guess. I don't know. Because I did one and I was like, here you go. He was like, it's perfect. You're hired. And I was like, okay. So I just dropped another one today.
Nice. I like that you said you've been jobbed. I don't think I've ever heard someone say that.
Is that not correct?
Well, I'm sure it is. Usually it's like, oh, I've been tasked or something, but been jobbed is way more fun.
Jobbed.
I like that.
I'm going to be jobbed tomorrow, unfortunately.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I was Zoe.
I was Lizzy.
May the force be with you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.